I've been a park ranger for 11 years, and there's something written into our after midnight protocol that most people will never see. It's a single sentence. No explanation. No signature. After 12 a.m., auditory distress signals originating from undeveloped zones are not to be investigated. That's the official language. What it really means is this. If you hear screaming in the woods after midnight, you are ordered to stay in your truck. The first time I read that rule, I laughed. I thought it was a joke, some kind of liability thing. But then my supervisor looked at me and said, very calmly, "Don't ever break that rule." I asked why. He didn't answer. He just stared at the wall behind me. If you like true ranger stories and national park mysteries, the kind we don't put on brochures, you might want to stay with me, because tonight I'm going to tell you what happened the first time I heard the screaming myself, and why ignoring it might have saved my life. Night patrols are slow by design. The park changes after dark. Sounds travel farther. Mist settles in places it doesn't belong. At 11:42 p.m., I was parked at mile marker 7. Engine off. Windows cracked. You're supposed to listen, not just for people, for the park itself. The radio hissed quietly on my dash. Every few minutes, another ranger checked in. Unit 3, all clear. Unit 5, nothing moving. Normal. Routine. I remember looking at the clock. 18 minutes to midnight. That's when the air changed. No wind. No insects. Just silence so complete it felt intentional. I adjusted in my seat, rested my hand near the radio. That's when I heard it. At first, it was distant, almost easy to dismiss. A single sound. Sharp. Human. A scream. The scream came from deep in the trees, far off the road. No trail access. It lasted maybe 3 seconds, then stopped. My first thought was a coyote. My second thought was no. Coyotes don't sound like that. This was panic, raw and breaking. I reached for the radio without thinking. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. I just heard." I stopped myself. I looked at the clock. 12:01 a.m. The rule flashed through my head. After midnight, do not investigate. Another scream cut through the dark. Closer this time. A woman's voice. "Help me." Clear. Too clear. My headlights lit up the tree line. Nothing moved. I keyed the radio again. "Dispatch, do we have any campers registered off-grid tonight?" Static. Then dispatch answered. "Unit 7 negative. No authorized campers in your sector." I swallowed. "Copy," I said. My hands were shaking. I sat there, listening. The screaming didn't come again right away. Instead, there was movement. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. Not running. Not crashing through brush. Walking. Circling. I could hear it moving somewhere beyond the reach of my lights. I whispered into the cab, "Stay calm." That's what they teach you. But then the voice came back. "Please. I know you're there." My stomach dropped. She knew about the truck, about the road, about me. I grabbed the radio again. "Dispatch, I have a possible lost hiker making contact, requesting guidance." There was a pause, longer than normal. Then dispatch said carefully, "Unit 7 confirmed time." I looked at the clock again. 12:09 a.m. "It's after midnight," I said. Another pause. Then one sentence. "Unit 7, remain in vehicle." No concern, no follow-up, just the rule. The voice started crying, real sobs, broken breaths. "I'm cold," she said. "I can't feel my legs." Every instinct I had was screaming louder than she was. This is why people disappear in national parks, I thought, because help doesn't come fast enough. I opened my door. Just an inch. The crying stopped instantly. Silence again. Then a new sound. Breathing. Right outside my truck. Not heavy. Not frantic. Calm. Too calm. I froze. My radio crackled on its own. "Unit 7. Dispatch said quietly, 'Do not exit your vehicle.'" The breathing moved along the side of the truck. Slow steps in the gravel. A hand brushed the door. Not knocking. Testing. Then the voice changed. "Ranger," it said. It wasn't pretending to cry anymore. "You're late." I couldn't breathe. My chest felt locked. The voice wasn't female anymore. Not really. It was flatter, stripped of emotion, like it was copying something it had heard before. I stared straight ahead. Didn't move. Didn't speak. The thing outside leaned closer to the window. I could see a shape now. Tall. Wrong. Its head tilted sideways. Listening. Waiting for me to answer. The radio hissed again. Another ranger broke in. "Unit 7, stay put. Whatever you do, don't respond." The thing outside stiffened. It stepped back from the truck. Then it smiled. I didn't see teeth. I saw too many gaps. Then it walked away. Back into the trees. Not fast. Not hiding. Confident. I stayed there until sunrise. Didn't sleep. Didn't move. At 6:02 a.m., dispatch cleared me to return. No one asked questions. Later that morning, I filed an incident report. It was returned to me stamped denied. No explanation. 3 weeks later, a missing persons notice went up at the visitor center. A woman, mid-20s, last seen hiking alone near mile marker 7. The date listed? The same night I heard the screaming. Search teams found nothing. No tracks. No gear. Just silence. I asked my supervisor about it. He didn't look surprised. He opened a locked cabinet, pulled out a thin folder. Inside were reports. Decades old. Different rangers. Different years. Same pattern. Screams after midnight. Voices asking for help. Things that knew our names. Every report ended the same way. No investigation conducted. I asked him what they were. He closed the folder. "They're not lost," he said. "Then what are they?" I asked. He met my eyes. "Bait. I still work nights. I still hear things. Sometimes it's a child. Sometimes a man shouting for his dog. Always after midnight. Always from the places maps don't label. I don't open my door anymore. I don't answer the radio when the voice mimics dispatch. And I don't break the rule. Because the one time someone did, they found his truck. Engine running. Door open. No blood. No tracks leading away. Just a handprint on the window. Too long. Too many fingers. If you ever visit a national park, and you hear someone screaming in the woods after dark, I want you to remember this. Real people don't know the rules. Real people don't wait until midnight. And real people don't sound like they're learning how to speak while they talk to you. Some things out there want you to come closer. They want you to break protocol. So the next time you hear a scream echoing through the trees, and no one comes to help, understand this. It's not because we don't care. It's because some warnings are written in blood. For more stories rangers aren't supposed to tell, subscribe to Park Ranger Confidential. They don't tell you this part in training. They don't explain what happens after you hear it the first time. Because once you've heard the screaming, the park knows you're listening. A week after that incident, I was back on the same stretch of road. Same truck, same radio, different night. Fog rolled in low, hugging the ground like it didn't want to be seen. My headlights barely cut through it. At 12:17 a.m., the radio clicked. Not static, not dispatch. Breathing. Slow. Deliberate. I didn't touch the mic. Then a voice whispered my name. Not over the radio. From the back seat. I didn't turn around. I already knew better. I stared at the windshield, hands locked on the steering wheel. The breathing behind me matched my own, in sync. When I held my breath, it held its breath too. That's when I understood something important. Whatever these things are, they don't just copy voices. They study you. Learn your rhythm, your fear. The radio crackled again. Unit 7, dispatch said, but the tone was wrong. Too close, too intimate. Why won't you help us? I shut the radio off. The breathing stopped. Then I felt pressure on my shoulder. Not heavy. Testing. Like a hand deciding whether it belonged there. I said nothing. Did nothing. Minutes passed. The pressure lifted. The back door creaked open on its own. Cold air rushed in. I heard footsteps move away from the truck, crunching slowly into the fog. When I finally turned around, the back seat was empty, but the glass was fogged from the inside, and written across it, traced by something that didn't have fingernails, were 4 words. Next time, get out. I drove until morning. Didn't log the incident. Didn't sleep. A month later, a new ranger joined night shift. Young guy, fresh out of training. He laughed when we warned him. Said the rule was just a scare tactic. At 12:06 a.m., we heard screaming on the radio. Real panic. Real terror. It was him. He'd stepped out of his vehicle. Protocol breach. We heard him begging, crying, saying it was standing right in front of him. Then the radio went quiet. Search teams found his truck at dawn. Door open. Radio still on. No ranger. No footprints. Just drag marks leading into the trees. That stopped suddenly, like he'd been lifted. After that, the rules changed. Not officially. But every ranger on night patrol knows. You don't mock the screaming. You don't acknowledge it. And you never talk back. Some nights, I hear multiple voices. Overlapping. Men. Women. Children. All calling for help. All from different directions. Sometimes they argue with each other. Sometimes they laugh. That's the worst part. Because whatever they are, they're learning. Last winter, during a heavy snowstorm, the screaming stopped. For 3 weeks, the park was silent. No voices. No movement. We thought maybe it was over. Then the thaw came. At 12 a.m. on the dot, every radio on the channel turned on by itself, and a chorus of voices spoke together, perfectly synced. We waited. The sound blew out 3 speakers. One ranger quit the next day. Another transferred. I stayed. Someone has to. If you're wondering why the park stays open, why they don't shut it down, it's because the screaming keeps people away from certain places. Places that were never meant to be trails, never meant to be campsites. Whatever lives out there doesn't want crowds. It wants individuals. It wants choice. That moment where you decide to help or obey. Every missing person in this park made the same decision. They stepped off the road, and the park collected them. Tonight, as I'm recording this, I'm back on patrol. It's 11:58 p.m. The woods are quiet. Too quiet. I already know what's coming. I just want this on record. If you ever hear screaming in a national park after midnight, and no ranger comes, it's not because no one heard it. It's because we did. And we survived by staying put. The clock just changed. 12 a.m. There it is. Right on time. The scream doesn't come all at once. It starts as pressure, like the air tightening. My ears ring softly. A warning sign I've learned not to ignore. Then the sound crawls out of the trees. Long, drawn out, not loud, controlled. It's closer than last time. Close enough that I can hear breath between the words. Wronger. I keep my eyes forward. The forest beyond my headlights feels thicker tonight, like it's leaning inward. The radio flickers on by itself again. Static first, then a voice I recognize too well. My supervisor. The same calm tone he always used. Unit 7, it says. You can step out now. That's how I know it's lying. He retired 2 years ago, and he never called me Unit 7. He always used my name. Something taps on the roof of the truck. Once, twice, not heavy, curious. My pulse is slow now, controlled. Fear wastes energy. The tapping slides down the windshield, leaving streaks in the condensation. I still don't look directly at it. I've learned that too. The voice shifts again, becomes younger, a child this time. Are you mad at me? It asks. I didn't mean to get lost. My jaw tightens. That's a new tactic. Guilt. I remind myself of the handprint, the fingers, the gaps. The thing outside exhales sharply, impatient. Behind the child's voice, there's another sound now. Movement. More than one set of footsteps. They're surrounding the truck. Slowly, methodically. I hear whispering. Not English. Not any language I know. The radio volume knob turns on its own. Clicks louder. Dispatch comes through clearly. Too clearly. All units, it says. We need assistance. Every Ranger code word is correct. Every inflection perfect. Except one thing. Dispatch never sounds afraid. This does. I shut the radio off again. The whispers outside stop instantly. The silence presses in. Then laughter breaks out. Dozens of voices. All wrong. I feel the truck rock slightly. Not enough to tip. Just enough to let me know how many there are. My breath fogs the glass, and shapes appear in it. Tall silhouettes. Bent ones. Too thin. Too still. They're standing just beyond the reach of the headlights. Watching. Waiting for the same mistake everyone else made. The laughter fades. The first scream returns. The original one. The woman. The one from years ago. I can see you, she says softly. I believe her, because I feel eyes on me, from places windows shouldn't show. Minutes stretch. My legs go numb. My hands ache from gripping the wheel. Then, suddenly, everything stops. No sound. No movement. The forest exhales. The shapes dissolve back into shadow. The pressure lifts. I don't relax. That's another trick. At 12:41 a.m., dispatch comes back on. The real one this time. Unit 7, status check. I answer immediately. Still in vehicle, essay. My voice shakes despite myself. Copy, dispatch replies. Hold position until sunrise. Relief doesn't come, just exhaustion. When daylight finally creeps through the trees, the park looks harmless again. Birds return. Wind moves normally. If I hadn't known better, I'd think it was all in my head. Then I step out of the truck and see the ground around it. Footprints. Too many. All facing inward. None leading away. I don't photograph them. I don't report them. Because I know what happens to those reports. Instead, I wipe my boots clean. And I drive back toward the ranger station. This will probably be my last season on night patrol. That's what I tell myself. That's what everyone tells themselves. But the park doesn't like being ignored. And it doesn't like loose ends. If you're listening to this late at night, and you live near a national park, pay attention to the time. Because after midnight, the rules change. And some screams aren't warnings. They're invitations. For more stories rangers aren't supposed to tell. Subscribe to Park Ranger Confidential. And whatever you do, stay in your car.